It's like a
We're keeping people who hate America. Now,
Okay, everyone, we are 1 minute past the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We may have some people join us as we're moving through the material and want to make sure our recording is going. It looks like it is. Yes, very good. Thanks, Francisca. Thank you very much. Okay, so please read that chat. Yes, I do ask that everybody remain on mute. I've already had some people come in here with lots of background noise, so it will help improve the call quality for everyone if you do stay on mute. We have a lot of people on the call today. So again, thank you for joining. And looks like we still have some additional people rolling in. And I am recording this session, so we will be sharing the call recording out after we wrap up today's session. Um, but okay, hold on. A couple more people I need to put on mute here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So thank you again for joining. My name is Cindy Wiebold, and I'm the lead client trainer here at Cvent on the Travel and Transient platform. I'll be walking you through the material today. I do recommend that you view today's session in a full screen mode, so you are sure to capture everything that I am demonstrating. And then please do stay on mute. Please mute yourself. If you have questions, please utilize that chat box. We are monitoring that chat box, and we will respond to your questions as we go along through the material. Of course, we want to make sure that we address all of your questions before we wrap up today. So also notice that when you open that chat box, you do have the option for wordly translation. Once you open the chat box, you'll see there's another open button there. When you click that open button, it will allow you to select a different language if you would like that translation to show up in your chat box. So you don't have to install anything to use Wordly. So post-training, you will receive this Zoom link with the call recording, and the link will expire in 60 days. So we do recommend that you download to save the session so you can visit it later or a refresher if you need. And then I'm also going to review the help portal with you and talk about the user guides and videos that are there. You will receive a survey about the training. And of course, we always appreciate your feedback. So I have to stop here, put a couple of people on mute. So again, if you're just joining us, please keep yourself on mute for today's session. So what is not changing in the new experience? Property profiles, property management homepage, the property bid list, standard reports, rate manager, business cases, business intelligence. So I think one of the things that you'll see today is there is a lot that is not changing in the new experience. So a lot stays the same. And let's talk about our training objectives. We will identify areas of the portal homepage and the help portal, apply property profile updates. We're going to work on those blackout dates. We'll complete a domain rate plan at the property level, apply rate plan to complete the bid and submit the bid. We will identify and analyze negotiation request, validate negotiation request, and send responses. And then I want to take you over to the travel side of the platform so you can see what travel managers see when they're reviewing your bid responses. So our agenda for today's session, we will review the portal homepage and the help portal. We'll go through, talk about those property profile updates and what you need to do if you need to update those property profiles, rate plan completion, and we'll talk about those rate plans. Once those rate plans are set to approved under the property management tab, you can edit those rate plans at bid level over and over again. So those same rate plans can be used repeatedly. You don't have to have a new rate plan for every single new account. And then again, we'll review some negotiation requests and respond to those negotiation requests. So I do have this pulled up on my other screen. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over here and right away go into a full screen mode for better viewing. So once you type in your username and password, oops, I right away pulled you up to the travel side of the platform. This is what a travel manager sees. We're going to be working over here. There we go. And so once you type in your username and password, you will arrive here at the portal homepage. And I'm sure the portal homepage looks familiar. It is not changing. It looks just like it always has. A couple of things I will point out. One is the calendar gadget on the right side. Now, I like having this here. You'll see the little green dots. When you roll your mouse over those dots, it will tell you bid due dates. It will also tell you negotiation due dates. The little green circles, the little blue dots will indicate if you have an engagement or a project RFP that is due. Now, that is the calendar gadget. If you don't want it visible on your home page, you can come click on the My Profile hyperlink in the upper right corner. And once you click on that hyperlink, this is where you can, if you uncheck the box, that calendar gadget will no longer be available. Now, you will also, will take you in where you can change your password and update your security questions and answers. You can make changes to your first name, last name, and email address. You cannot change your username. That's how we tie you to your account. So after you make changes to this page, you can click the Save Changes button at the bottom. It tells us the user profile was updated successfully. Going to click on that portal homepage to return us back to that homepage. And then we have the message center at the top of the page. This is every time or whenever we are communicating any information out to our hotel partners, we always include this information in the message center. So the most current or recent message will be found at the top of the page. So do check the message box here for any updates from us here at Cvent Transient. And then the only other thing I'm going to point out on this homepage is the help portal. Now, when you click on that help tab, it right away takes you into the Cvent community. And there is a support tab here at the top, but I will tell you that it's likely that if you come to Cvent Transient for support, we may send you back to, just a moment. We may send you back to HotelREZ support. And so we work in partnership with them to answer, questions related to the platform overall. But if you have some specific questions related to HotelREZ processes, we may send you back to them if you contact the support desk. You can contact the support desk by clicking on that support tab at the top, and then you type in a brief description of what you need assistance with and click that submit button. You will be assigned a case number, and you should reference that case number when you contact the support desk, again, regarding that same issue. Now, if you prefer to call in for assistance, there is a toll-free number that's listed about halfway down the page here. This is for users in North America. For users located outside of North America, click on the international numbers hyperlink, locate the country in which you reside, and the phone number associated to that country. So a couple of different ways to get in touch with us. So there's a lot of support for you behind the scenes. So don't hesitate to reach out. This is also our knowledge base. So you can conduct keyword or phrase searches here. So for instance, if we are looking for information on property rate plans, we type property rate plans into the search bar and click the search button. All of the articles, user guides, release notes, and videos pertaining to that topic will be displayed. Notice over on the right side, you can see multiple articles listed here. And I'm going to click on creating a fixed rate plan. Once I click on that, you can see it's going to bring you up the step-by-step instructions. This is one of the things I'll be walking you through today. Of course, we're going to be completing this rate plan, a domain rate plan here at the property level. And you can see it's pretty much the same. So I will point out that at the top of the page, you will notice there are multiple videos that I have added to the knowledge base over the last year. They're all very short videos, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. You'll see a video about responding to negotiation requests, um, updating different fields, that property rate plan, all of that. Again, you can locate those by conducting a keyword or phrase search here in the help portal. So that is it for the help portal. So let's go ahead and move on here. The first step in the process, we're going to click on the corporate transient and consortia button. And then right away, I'm going to go over to the property management homepage. I have access to literally every aspect of the platform. So what you're seeing across the top here are multiple tabs that you do not have access to. These tabs, the tab that you need to have access to is the property management tab. All of your work will be performed right here under starting with property management home, which is where we have landed. Now I'm tied to multiple properties, so I'm actually going to conduct a search for any of you who may be tied to multiple properties. This is how you would pull up a different property. I'm going to be using my Cindy Test Hotel today for our training. And you can see this is the home page. The first thing I'm going to point out here is over on the far right side, the contract period. It is set to the upcoming RFP season. So every time you sign in, it is going to default to 2026. If you are still working on any 2025 or off-cycle RFPs, you will still locate those by selecting 2025 from the dropdown. But for today's training, we will stay in 2026. And then I just want to familiarize you again with this page. It may be new for some of you and a refresher for some of the others. The message center at the top of the page is where you will receive any messages about new RFPs or negotiation requests. On the left side of your screen, you have the new activity box. This will show if you have any new RFPs, any negotiation requests, updates to apply, and if you subscribe to market leads, you will locate those market leads right here in the new activity box. And then in the middle of the page, the account reminders section, you can see that I have mine filtered to show bids due in the last 7 days and bids due in the upcoming 28 days. But you can select a different option from the dropdown, whatever is going to work best for you. And then over on the far right side, we have the RFP summary box. And you can see that top line is going to show all of the bids that you have received in all of the statuses. Now, below that, you are going to see the bids in their individual statuses. If you are unfamiliar with the different statuses that we use in Cvent Transient, you can roll your mouse over that status and it's going to give you a field description or definition there. So it'll break it down for you. Now that's the property management homepage. And again, that's going to be located right here. It is the first place you will land as soon as you click on that corporate transient and consortia button from the main page. Now, the next place that we're going to go is going to be the property profile. And of course, if you have updates to make to your property profile, you are going to have to contact the HotelREZ RFP team. And you can see here that I have landed at the general profile section. If you have any missing information, you're going to see yellow banners present in your property profile. It will be important to make sure that all of those sections are updated, and we want those updated before you accept participation into any RFPs. By updating the property profile in advance, it really is going to save you a lot of time. The one section that you can update and must be updated on an annual basis are the blackout and fair dates. The rest of the property profile information, it does copy over year after year. So if you updated your airports or communications or the rooms last year, all of that information will be still updated this year. So once I click on the Blackout and Fair Dates tab, also notice there is a little yellow triangle icon next to Blackout and Fair Dates. And if we look up above, it tells us that that icon is going to be present anytime there is a section of our property profile that is not yet set to approved. So when I click on that Blackout and Fair Dates, we look over to the right side and notice that it is still in progress. And so as soon as we add our blackout dates, I come over to the left side here and click on Add/Edit Dates. An annual calendar is displayed. To select the blackout dates, just place a check mark next to the applicable blackout dates. And then we come up to the top. We click Save Changes. Those dates turn green. We close the window. Our dates are now added. Now, I will point out to you, if you get in for the 2026 RFP season, if you would get a 2-year bid and you want to add your 2027 blackout dates, notice you can do that already. So you can just select 2027 from the drop down. So you can select both 2026 year and 2027 year blackout dates if you get a 2-year bid. Also, notice here on the right side, you can add a 50-character description of your blackout dates. Now, maybe I want to communicate that this is a citywide, so I maybe don't have control over the blackout dates that we've selected here. But anything you want to say here, it does pull over into the bid, and it will be seen by the travel manager. So I'll point that out to you when we get over to that section. Again, up to 50 characters, you can add that description. On the left side, you can rank those blackout dates in order of importance for your hotel, but really no need to do that unless you have an excessive amount of blackout dates. And I would say an excessive amount would be anything more than, say, like 35 blackout dates, then you probably do want to rank those. But once we add all of our blackout dates and any of our descriptive information, we're going to flag this category as approved and click Save Changes. Okay, so great. Please check out that the chat box there from message from the RFP team. And so again, if there are any sections of your property profile that do need to be updated, you will want to contact the support team. And if you look, the support email address is in the chat there. So it's support@hotelrez.com. So any assistance that you may need outside of the blackout dates, please reach out to them directly and they will be able to help you. All right, so we're going to move on here. And the next place that we're going to go is right over here to property rate plans. So you can see we're just making our way right down the list. So I'm going to select property rate plans, and you can see I have a couple that are set to approved, but I have this HotelREZ. It's a new one. It was pushed out at the domain level. We see that it is in progress. Now, we recommend as a best practice that any of these that are in progress, we want to set these to approved. So I'm going to click on the rate plan name, and it takes us into that rate plan. Notice the navigation ladder along the left side of your screen. And now this is the first time you're seeing the new experience. Notice at the top, there is a note there from your administrators. And it tells us here that this is an LRA fixed rate plan. with net non-commissionable for corporate accounts, anything will be seen by the hotel. So just so you know, the administrators who create these rate plans, they can add a 3,000 character note here. And so do check and read that little box at the top for any information from your RFP administrators. Now, notice because this was created at the domain level, there are several fields that we cannot select for ourselves: the contract year, the format, the rate level, the rate plan name, the rate type, and the rate availability were all selected for us at the domain level. Now, one thing to point out, and that is when you are working in the new experience and you see either an information icon or a question mark icon, you can click on that or roll your mouse over that. It's going to give you field help or field descriptions. So we are still using the industry standard, which is GBTA 2013, and this allows for 3 room types and 5 seasons. Now, moving down, excuse me, just to point out here, you may see a rate availability with LRA and non-LRA selected because you do have the option of selecting both. The rate plan code, market code, and rate tier are all optional fields. If you use these today for any internal purposes, you can continue doing so. The currency will be pulled from the property profile. And then we're going to move down and we're going to add our room types that also were pulled from the property profile. And we want these ordered from least expensive to most expensive. So again, there's a little note here that for a reminder that says lowest to highest. If you, for some reason, get these out of order and you need to reorder them, you can just click on them and it will allow you to reorder them. And then again, because we are using GBTA 2013, that allows for a maximum of 3 room types. And then we click Save and Continue, and it takes us to step 2, where we're going to add our seasons and rates. So I begin by clicking on the Add Season button, and I can add a naming convention there at the top if I'd like. It picked up the start date, the program, the start date of the rate plan. And now I'll say my first season here will go through April 30th. And now I'm going to add my LRA single and double occupancy rates. Now, if this rate plan included the NLRA option also, we would see 6 additional boxes here on this screen for the NLRA single and double occupancy for each of our 3 room types. Now, one other thing to note here, when you click on the information icon next to the room type here, it is going to bring up that description from the property profile. And so I highly recommend that you update this with the RFP team. If your property profile, the rooms tab is not updated, you want to make sure that is updated because all of this does pull over. So I'm going to add my single and double occupancy rates here. This is not a drop-down situation. These are just rates that I have previously added, and in an effort to save time, I'm using them again. I click the check mark to save after I've added my rates. Notice there is an ellipsis over on the far right side. When we click on that ellipsis, we can edit the season. We can't delete a season because we only have 1 season added. Now I come over here and I'm going to add another season. Click on the button. Notice it picked up a start date of May 1st. So just like in the legacy experience, we cannot have any gaps in dates or overlapping dates with our rate plans. So I will say the second season will go through August 31st. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my second season rates for my single and double occupancy for each of my 3 room types. So again, just selecting these, not a drop-down situation. Click the check mark to save, and then you can see my second season rates are added. Now, when I click on that ellipsis, I can edit the season or delete the season altogether. I'm going to add one more season here. Click on the Add Season button. It picked up that start date of September 1st. And this last season will go through the end of the year. Notice here we can copy from another season. I'm going to copy my season 1 rates. Click copy, and there are my season 1 rates all added. Click the check mark to save. And again, because we are using GBTA 2013, we can add a maximum of 5 seasons. So you'll see there's little notes added throughout the new experience. Click Save and Continue, and it takes us to our blackout and fair dates. Now, to pull in those blackout dates from the property profile, we can click on the hyperlink here. Yes, we want to copy our blackout periods from the property profile. We confirm that any of that descriptive information that we add is going to pull in. And then notice over on the far right side, if I change my mind, maybe I want to edit this blackout date to increase or decrease, if I want to delete the blackout date, or I can change it to a fair date right at this stage. Let's go ahead and notice here, if I wanted to add additional blackout dates, I could add those right here. It will not affect the blackout dates that are stored in the property profile. Now, before I add my fair date, I need to select my fair date rate availability. I'm going to select non-LRA for my fair rates. I come down and click on Add Fair Period. And now I'm going to add, I'll say that my fair date is actually July 11th through the 13th. So I add my fair season, and now I am going to add my single and double occupancy rates for each of my 3 room types. You can see I'm not very creative with my rates. Okay, click that check mark to save, and then you can see my fair season is added.
Hi,
Francesca,
Cindy. I'm sorry. It's just Francesca again here. I'm so sorry to jump in, everybody. But I just wanted to highlight, obviously, we have 9 set rate plans for all the properties to use. So you'll be able to edit them in your bid, but obviously you'd have to use the 9 set ones that we have. So I'm unsure that they would be able to change these ones.
Yes. Oh, yes. Everything can be edited right at bid level, and I'm going to show them that, Francesca.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to highlight
Yes,
that we
good.
obviously couldn't create any ones. Sorry,
Yep.
everybody.
Yep. No, that's great. Thank you, Francesca. Okay, so here we go. And so you can see now my fair date is added in chronological order there, right? And then we click Save and Continue. And I'm going to skip past the amenities here because I have them updated in my profile. If the account requests them, they will come in. Once I click that continue button, it says, wait, can you add something? I'm still going to click continue here. And then it takes us to our policies. Now notice that the cancellation policy was added at the domain level, but notice over here, there is an ellipsis. So maybe at my hotel, the cancellation is 48 hours. I'm going to change that to 48 hours and click the check mark to save. Now, the oversold policy was added at the domain level, and notice that it is locked here. So I don't even have an ellipsis over here where I could make a change if I wanted to. So I have to adopt that policy. And then all of these taxes and fees were pulled from my property profile. And at this stage, if I wanted to add additional fees, I could do that. And notice over on the right side, there is an ellipsis. So if I wanted to edit, maybe I want to include the lodging tax. So I click on that edit button, and then you can see my lodging tax is going to be included. Just for this rate plan, it will not affect what's stored in the property profile. And then we click Save and Continue, and then we get to that last step where we have an edit button available in the upper right corner of each of our sections. And we can still make any edits to this that we would like, but we can edit this entire thing at bid level if we would like. So I'm going to click Save and Assign here. And then notice our rate plan is set to approved. And now I come up and I'm going to go to Property Management and select Property RFPs. select that, and then it takes us to our bid list. And you can see the bid list looks just like it always has, no change there. We have the accounts listed over on the left side. And let's take a look at, we have the best business company with a new bid. So you can still click on the account name. It's going to give you an overview of the account at the top. The account documents are going to be loaded right here. And any documents provided, you can click right here and view the documents. And then a program summary is listed at the bottom. Now we can also click on the document icon and view the documents there also, right? And then after the next comes the account type. This is corporate transient, global. The bid due date, our history, and our status. This is a new RFP. We still have that history hyperlink available. And then over on the far right side, we have the actions column. And so remember, any of the actions that you see listed here are actions that you can perform. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, it is at the time that I accept participation that when I accept participation, that's when all the property profile data is attached to my bid. And that is that static information that really doesn't change, right? So that's going to be, what year was the hotel built? All of that property basic, corporate social responsibility, safety and security modules, all that's attached in the background. So if you have incomplete information there, it is going to force you to answer that at bid level. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so first step in the process, once again, here are the documents provided by the account. We can download all documents or click on the ellipsis on the document itself and download the file. First step in the process is to acknowledge that you have read those account documents. Now, here is where all of your rate plans are going to show up when you click on add a daily stay. And so to Hannah and Francesca's point, all of these rate plans are pushed out at the domain level. But once you have them set to approved under the property management tab, you could edit those over and over again at bid level. And so like, for instance, this dynamic rate for training, this hasn't been set to complete yet. So in order for me to use that for this bid, I have to actually click in and complete the rate plan here at bid level. Now I'm going to add the HotelREZ rate plan that we just completed. That was also pushed out at the domain level. You can see now it is attached. And then we click Save and Continue. This account has 3 custom questions. Will you provide a food and beverage discount? I'll say yes, 5%. Did your hotel complete the Cvent sustainability questions? Yes. What is the GM's email address? I'll use mine, and there's 4 custom questions. What date will rates be loaded into the GDS? I'll say July 31st. Okay, I've answered my 4 questions. And now it takes us to the final step where we review the bid. And this is where, again, at this level, any changes to that rate plan can be made. It will not affect that rate plan as it's stored under the property management tab. Remember, when you are working in the new experience, just like the legacy experience, anytime you see text written in red like this, or an asterisk next to a field, this is your indication it is a required field. So hotels need to share their room night consumption from January to June. So I'm going to come up to the edit button and I will say the best business company has produced 411 rooms so far this year at my hotel. So if you're wondering what this is question number 63 of the client specific module. And so some companies make that a required question. And so you will be forced to give their room night production so far at your hotel. And actually, this is a good question to ask. I like being asked this question, especially if it's an account that has been giving me a lot of volume, but maybe I'm not in their program yet. But by answering this question, they're going to see that, yes, indeed, I'm seeing a lot of business from your company. The second thing that needs to be addressed here is the number of rooms at the hotel. And so I'm going to click this edit button here. And then notice I can add my rooms from the property profile. I click on that and you can see it pre-populates all of that information right from the property profile. I click the check mark to save. Now this is actually a negotiable field. And so some of your more sophisticated accounts may negotiate on this. And what they're actually negotiating is how many rooms are going to be available for my account on a nightly basis. And so I would say that, some of your larger accounts, and I say more sophisticated only because their programs have been around for a long time, like PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, Lockheed Martin, FedEx. Some of those may actually come back and say, I need to know how many standard rooms will be available for my account on a nightly basis. And then it's not an allotment or room block. You would just give your best guess estimate there. And this is actually question number 68, 70, and 72 of the client-specific module. So these are questions that have been asked, since 2013 when the GBTA format was changed. It's just we're highlighting them now, but perfectly fine to pull those in from your property profile. And then if the account wants to negotiate on that, they will let you know. And then here are my seasons. And again, but for this best business company, if maybe I want to increase the rate, I can do that right here or decrease the rate. It's not going to affect that rate plan that's stored in my profile. I could also add additional seasons here if I would like. Okay, and then I'm going to skip past all of this. Here's all my fair date and rate availability information. Now here are my amenities. Because the account requested these amenities and I had them updated in my profile, they automatically pulled in here without any interference on my part. Now, if I don't want to offer all of these amenities, I can come right over to the ellipsis and I could edit. Now notice the wired high speed is the one thing that's listed as not offered, but any amenity can be listed as not offered. If you don't have a restaurant available, so you don't serve breakfast, you could say breakfast is not offered. I don't have a parking garage or parking facilities at my hotel. I can respond as not offered. You can also see that this parking here is available for purchase, where these others have been included. But if I wanted to edit this or change it to include the parking or reduce the parking rate, I can do that right here. But I'm good with this. I'm going to keep it as it is. Here are all of my policies. We had added cancellation and oversold were added to that rate plan, but the early checkout fee was requested by the account. It automatically pulled into my bid. So I don't have to add any amenities or any policies to my rate plans if I don't want to, because I could add them right here at bid level. So you're seeing this add policy. Same thing with taxes and fees. These all have been pulled in from the property profile, but maybe for the best business company, I want to add a service fee. Maybe I want to include the occupancy tax, exclude the lodging tax from inclusion. Any of these changes I can make, and it's not going to affect that rate plan as it's stored. And then you are going to be able to take your bid to the approved status, just like you can today. So I'm going to go ahead and select approved. And this is the final step. It pre-populates from your contacts tab. And so if all of this information is pulled over, is updated, it's going to pull over and pull in. I click the save button. Now, if all of the sections of my property profile are updated, this bid is just going to go straight through to approved pending submission. And so that's what you're seeing right here for our status. And so that tells me that all of the sections of my property profile were updated, which is great. So I'm going to go back. We're going to go over to property management. And I want to show you, let's take a look at this in progress. I'm going to scroll back a year. So if you have incomplete property profile information, so if it's not completed, set to approved, instead of your bid going to the submitted or approved status, pardon me, approved status, it's going to be taken back to in progress. And in the actions column, you're going to see this red stop sign, and it's going to say complete content. And so in order for you to submit that bid, you're going to have to click on complete content and look at all of this missing information. And so at this stage, I'm going to have to answer all of the questions here in order to submit the bid. It is not going to update my profile at this stage. So you want to make sure that before you start accepting participation by saying, yes, I want to participate, you're going to want to make sure that all of your property profile fields are updated. And again, if you're seeing any missing fields, let the team at HotelREZ know. And then all of that information, because they're pulling that in, and we want to make sure that it's updated so that you don't run into this situation. And so as soon as I answer all of these questions, all 1 million of these questions, you'll see that I'm going to get another box. And the other box says, great, you've completed the bid, this bid, but to avoid this on all future bids, go now to your property profile and make these enhancements. Now we do have enhancements coming down that are going to update your property profile for you, but they are not available yet. So just keep that in mind. And so you can see this is not quick. And so the profile that I used for that last bid, it was updated. So you can see it's a huge time saver. It just goes all the way through without any interference. So I'm just going to keep answering these questions. Oh my. And I just want to show you the last little warning that you'll get on this. Once you complete your bid, it's going to say great. Now to avoid this on all future bids, go now and update your property profile. This is really something, okay? These are the environmental questions, and I do have some resources that we will be sending out to you following the session today, some user guides and additional resources. So now I'm going to set this to approved, just like you. And so what happens is that we're going to come back and it says, great, this bid is now complete. However, your property profile is not complete. To avoid this on all future bids, go to the property profile and make those updates. And you can see it removes that and it changes that status back to submitted. So if we go back to property management home for 2025, we'll see that actually is set to approved, and we're approved pending submission. So just keep that in mind. That property profile is going to be important. So communicate with the team there. Now I have a couple of different negotiations waiting for us that we're going to take a look at. And so let's look at actually here, sorry. Renegotiations. Okay, so the first one that we're going to take a look at is the Best Business Company has sent a negotiation. We know this is a negotiation because we see the little green negotiation icon with the number in the middle, tells us the number of rounds this has been through. And then we have our history hyperlink. And remember, you always read history from the bottom up, and it will tell you everything that has transpired with this bid and when those changes took place. I'm going to come over to the far right side to the actions column and click edit bid. And the first step in the process, you can see down here is a comment bubble. When I click on the comment bubble, the travel manager says, please reduce rates, offer 6 p.m. cancel and free parking. We need office and airport transport, include early checkout fees. Okay, so notice here at the top, we have our proposal history. We know who submitted this bid. We can decline the negotiation at any time. But the first step in the process is to click the negotiate button, and this opens up the bid for you. The default view is the basic view. I'm going to show you the detailed view in a moment. We know that all of the negotiations are taking place here in the bid itself, not in the custom questions. If it were taking place in the custom questions, we would see the purple dot next to the custom questions also. Now, the navigation ladder, it will help you walk through the steps so you can click through to the different areas of the bid. And notice anything that's not being negotiated is locked down. You cannot edit. So it looks like they are asking for changes at season 2. Okay, so down here, I'm seeing changed by account. But I want to point one thing out that you're not seeing here on the season and rates line. How about that? Look for something that's not there. You do not see an ellipsis here. The next renegotiation I share will have an ellipsis because they're requesting a rate type change. This is a fixed to fixed negotiation. I offered a fixed rate. They're negotiating on that fixed rate. So we don't see an ellipsis there. And they're only negotiated on season 2. Now, below each field, you will see in the basic view, you will see a drop down. When I click on the drop down, I can see last year's offer, the hotel's original offer, the account's current request, and my last offer. Now, this is round 1 negotiation. So we need to pay very close attention here because the rate that I offered this account was $299. What's in the response box is what they're asking for, which is $290 on the standard room, $300 on the superior room, where previously I offered $319, and then on that upgraded room, that deluxe, they're asking for $330. So that's what's in the box is their request. And again, we can see if the hotel participated last year. And then, of course, the original offer and current offer are the same, right? Because we haven't negotiated this. Now, this is the basic view. If you select the detailed view up here in the upper right corner, you don't have to click on the little N/A. It's automatically going to display that information for you. You see that? And so here's the season. So you can see below each field, it's going to show you. Now, I'm okay with the offering these lower rates, so I'm not going to change any of this. Now, notice here, I didn't originally offer NLRA, and so I can't now, unless they had opened this up by negotiating, and then I could respond. It doesn't look like they requested anything for season 3, so I'm going to go down to blackout and fair dates. And it looks like they asked us to remove or delete the blackout date for February 6th and February 7th. If you don't want to delete that blackout date, just move on past. If you do want to delete that blackout date, come over to the ellipsis, click delete blackout date. Yes, delete date. You can see that that green check mark is going to show up on the hotel side as we agreed. Okay, and then moving down, I don't see anything else here, but you'll also notice with those fair date rates that we added, the detailed view is also showing up down here. So same thing, if we had any of those fair dates from last year in the bid, we would see that information here and then the original offer. I'm going to go down past amenities, and it looks like the only amenity that they asked us was about parking. And you can see that they put a check mark in the box. See, all of these other amenities have the check mark. I'm not going to include this. So I'm unchecking the box. And just like with the rates, we could always see what was offered the previous year if the hotel were in the program, and then that original offer. Now, I am not going to include parking, but I am going to give them a discount. So I'm going to give them maybe I'll offer it at $32.50. And so that will be 50% off, basically. And then you can see this account asked for airport transportation. It was updated in my profile. It is not included in the rate. It's $65, and there's a shuttle ban. They also asked for office transportation, which was also updated in my profile. So it automatically pulled in, but maybe this Best Business Company is too far away from my hotel and I don't want to offer it to this account. I can come right in and change this to not offered. But if I'm okay offering it, I just leave it. Policies changed by account. So we can see originally we said 48 hours. The account asked for 6 p.m. I'm going to ask for, I'll say 24. I'll give them 24. So I'll give in a little bit there. They asked us to include the early checkout fee in the negotiated rate. I'm fine with that. And then they asked us to update our negotiated rate availability. And I'll say that we'll offer the negotiated rate to client employed contractors and subsidiary employees, but not the other two groups. And then you could see not anything else. There's not anything else being offered here. So I'm going to respond and say all changes agreed, except, I can't type today, except parking and cancel. Okay, 24-hour cancel. Okay, perfect. I'm going to post external comment by placing a check mark here in the box and then post external comment. Your comments are now optional. In the legacy environment, you were required to add a comment. You no longer have to add a comment. So completely optional. Your comments are indicated with the purple suitcase icon and the travel manager's blue suitcase, purple bed. We can edit or delete the comment altogether. And you can add an internal note here if you'd like. We add an internal note by not placing a check mark here, just post comment. So if you want to make a little note to yourself, it will not be seen by the travel manager, and you can edit or delete it. And then we're going to change our status back to approved. Again, that's going to indicate to your team that the bid is ready for submittal back to the account. Now, the very last one I'm going to take a look at before we quickly go over to the travel side of the platform is, notice this Cvent test account down here. We have request negotiation. I'm going to click on edit bid. And again, I'm going to read the comments. Please offer fixed rates, 6 p.m. cancel and free parking. We need office and airport transport, include early checkout fees. Okay. So again, I'm going to click that negotiate button to open up the bid. We can look at that detailed view if we want to select that right here. And now look, fixed rate requested. So remember on that last one, we did not have the ellipsis. Now we have the ellipsis. So I am going to change this to a fixed rate, change to a fixed rate. Yes, change rate type. And now it automatically pulled in a start and end date of the program start and end dates, just because by its very nature, that dynamic rate is not seasonal. Excuse me? Oh, oh my. Okay, the seasonal rate is not, by its very nature, a dynamic rate is not seasonal. So you can see here that green checks out. And then you can add the rate here. Now, when you pull this up, it may or may not contain what they're looking for in terms of a rate. And then if you notice here, you can add seasonal rates if you wanted to for this negotiation. And then look at, because we're looking at that detailed view, we see last year's offer, but we don't see anything for the original offer because remember, originally it was a different rate type. So, and then I'm going to move down here. And again, we have that request to delete blackout date, a couple of those. And if we wanted to agree to that, we come over and delete blackout date. Moving down. And so you can see, again, everything's highlighted for you. Everything's highlighted for you. So again, if you want to agree to these things or not. So, okay. So next, I know we are coming up on time. I want to take you over and show you what the travel manager sees. So here's the best business company on the travel side. So when they are getting bids back or negotiation responses back, they click on those and they say, okay, here is our response back. They click on that. And they're literally working off of the same screen that you are working off of. They have proposal history, who submitted the bid, the comment bubble in the bottom right corner. They could see here the rates are reduced. 24-hour cancel is offered. We cannot offer free parking, office transport. Okay. They have the basic view and the detailed view, just like you. And they have that navigation ladder along the left side. They also have that purple dot that shows where the negotiations took place. So they come down and say, okay, oh, it matches my request. The hotel gave us what we asked for. So you can see green check mark, go down to blackout and fair dates. Oh, deleted by hotel. They gave us what we asked for. It's in green. Amenities, skip down to amenities. Oh, declined request. But we can see here that last year parking was $60. This year we said parking is $60. They asked us to include parking. We said no. We declined the request. And then transportation to and from the office added by hotel. Doesn't match request. So it's very easy for them to check these bids, matches request. And it's easy for them to continue negotiating if they'd like. But just remember, your notes back to them are optional and their notes to you are optional. Now, the one thing I do want to share, and that is they have the option of clicking on your hotel name and address, and then all of your static information is going to show up in a separate tab. Here is all of that static information. So what we've done in the new experience is we have separated all of the static information, which is property basic, safety and security, and corporate social responsibility modules from the negotiable fields, which are all contained within the client specific module. That's where your rates, your blackout dates, your policies, your amenities, custom questions are all contained within that client specific module. And that's all you're looking at when you negotiate and when you're responding to the bid. Now, I like showing this because for all of those corporations that subscribe to our hotel directory, the travel manager creates a single sign-on token, places it on the company intranet site, and then the travelers and the travel agents all have access to these specific pages. So if I'm traveling with the best business company and I might want to stay at the RFP light test domain property, I want to know what year it was built. I want to know what credit cards they accept. I want to know when it was last renovated, how many rooms, what's their room service situation, what's their accessibility, safety and security. All of this information is visible not only to the travel managers, but also to the travelers. So it's really important to have all this information updated. Now, in addition, the travel manager can add specific notes to each property. So you can see this is a full service hotel with resort amenities. That's what I added. Maybe I will say this is the only preferred hotel in Dallas, or you must book this hotel in London, or whatever they want to say, they can add those comments. But it is, you can see the GDS codes are all right here. So those agents also have access to this information. Really, really important piece of it. But I like showing the travel side of the platform because I think it helps you kind of see that you're both working off of the same screens and the communication back and forth. So I know that was a lot. So any information, any questions on any of the information that I shared? Sarah, did you have a question? Francesca, did you want to say any final thoughts?
Hi, Cindy again. Oh, thank you so much. It's amazing to see it from the travel manager's side as well. So I do appreciate it, and thank you everybody for joining. Obviously, real key highlight here is to ensure that the your content is up to date, which from our side is done from res to market. So for everybody who's, wanting to ensure that your property content is up to date in Cvent, you need to go into res to market via the member portal, update it there, and let the support team know that and ask them to push it into your Cvent profile to ensure everything is up to date. So real key message here to ensure that that is done as soon as possible. Obviously, when you're get to completing your first bids, if you do get stuck or you need any help, then obviously reach out to us on the demand@hotelrez.com email address. And obviously any questions, also reach out to us on that as well. And thank you, Cindy. That's we appreciate your time.
Great. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Cindy. Cheers.
Cheers.